So the number one thing that we think biomedical engineering people need to do to help bring down surgical equipment repair costs is to focus on how there's an alternative to the manufacturer. OEMs are typically the default for many surgical equipment repairs. It also happens in many cases to be one of the most expensive ways to do repairs. We often find that after the first year of acquiring new equipment, it makes a great deal of sense for biomeds to be able to help their clinical partners look at alternatives to OEM repairs and align the level of service that they get for repair and maintenance services on that equipment to what the clinicians really need going forward. And oftentimes we find that can produce significant savings compared to the manufacturers. The other big factor that we think helps contribute to cost savings that biomeds can certainly influence is helping bring down repair volumes. Immersing themselves in the business of sterile processing and in the OR so they can understand better what the business operations are there, and then bring their engineering expertise to that to help bring down repair spend and find what are the root causes for damage to surgical equipment. Yeah, historically, there's been a big firewall between the sterile processing department and OR and biomedical engineering. Life support systems and technologies like that typically fall to clinical engineers. Everything that gets held by a surgeon typically falls to somebody in the OR. And the way to overcome that and the way for biomedical engineers to get themselves more into the OR and sterile processing operations is to engage with those clinical partners. It's to look at repair and maintenance needs. It's to help them address inventory needs and minimum levels of equipment that they need to have to support their operations. Clinicians are typically very busy. They're typically also people who are very reactive. They want immediate repairs, they want things done very quickly, and that's a place where clinical engineers can bring their expertise in repair sourcing, in repair operations, and overall preventative maintenance to help optimize the way the OR and sterile processing departments run.
To the facility.
Again, I think for clinical engineers to be able to help deliver cost savings on surgical equipment repair, it really comes down to them getting more involved in the sourcing process, them bringing the disciplines that make them excellent at dealing with healthcare technologies, sourcing those services, understanding service, quality, and cost, and aligning those things to what the real requirements are from a OR or sterile processing perspective. The critical component there is understanding the business requirements and then being able to align the level of repair and maintenance service to what those requirements are. We find that MD Expo provides us an excellent forum to exchange ideas and to learn really what is happening in the biomedical engineering world that we need to be in tune to as a supplier to help them provide greater service and better value to their clinical customers internal to a hospital. I think the one thing that MD Expo excels at is bringing together both suppliers, practitioners, and regulatory authorities, groups like AMI, groups like Joint Commission, bringing together all of those different perspectives under one roof. It's not completely a provider, so biomedical engineer-driven content in a lot of the presentations. It's also suppliers bringing best practices, and it's also some of those regulatory groups bringing best practices. So I think in terms of a really blended content, MD Expo does an outstanding job at giving the biomedical engineering personnel a great blend and a great broad exposure to current topics.